Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us or a good idea for a Leather Element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So I love to add fringe to a project, particularly long fringe. Now at Weaver, we sell fringe by the foot, pre-cut, ready to go. But we've got an alternative, and we can make this fringe as long as we want without actually having to cut every strand. But also, we can spread this out if we like. And the best part, we can turn this into an edge decoration. So let's see what I'm talking about. We're going to start with a very simple design, then we're going to work our way up. Now, one big point. The size hole that we punch and the spread we put in these is going to be dependent both on the size of our lace and the size of our project. Larger project, larger lace, larger hole, more spread. For this, we're going to think of a smaller project, maybe a purse, bag, or pouch, flap, or for a gusset or an edge. So with this, we're going to go 1/2 inch spread, 1/8 inch punch because we're going to use an 1/8 inch lace. Now I've got 3 laces here that are my favorite for this design or for fringe, simply because they drape well. First off, our deer lace, love this lace. Very supple, gonna hang well, but we've got some good colors in that. Same with our suede, a little bit stiffer, but that's gonna soften up with some use. And right here, a little bit wider lace. This is a 3/16. I've hand cut this from one of our deer tan cows. So for our project, we're gonna go 1/8 inch lace. So we've got an 1/8 inch hole and a 1/2 inch spread. And I'm gonna bring that in 3/8 of an inch from our edge. We could get that a little bit closer, but for our example, that gives us ample room to see what we're doing, all right? So let's go with some of our chocolate brown deer lace, and I'm going with this simply because that's gonna be a nice contrast to our Pioneer Chrome, all right? So I've got a piece about 13 inches long. Great thing about this design, we can make our fringe any length we want, and we don't have to cut it. All right, so anyway, back to this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna taper both ends, just cut a little taper. Let's go flesh side to flesh side. Put those together because we're gonna use one of the best tools ever invented in leathercraft. It's a permalock needle. Basically, it's a tube, but it's threaded on this end. So if we've got a point there, all we have to do is screw, literally screw that needle down onto our lace. Good. We've got a good bite there. Okay, so on our design here, pick any hole, and I'm going to come through from the back. Let's see if we can keep our top grain. There we go. Okay. Let's leave a little bit of loop there because now let's bring this around and go back through that loop. Okay, now let's pull this up, get that loop a little bit tighter on the edge. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's take our needle off. Give that a little tug. Okay, that looks good. And in all honesty, that's very secure. Feels like it's going to be there for a long time. I'll do 2 more. Let's just get the look of this. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. And again, the deer drapes very nicely. I like that look. All right, well, how about we add a little color into this? Let's go with some of our cypress and our white deer lace. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And I like the look of that. Very nice. Okay, let's step that up a little bit because now let's come in 2 rows of holes. This is going to be a little bit more secure. So I'm going to come in 1/4 of an inch, then 3/8 of an inch, and we're going to give this spread 1/2 inch. So let's start here again, back to the chocolate. We've got that. Okay, so on the hole closest to the edge, we're going to come through the front, pull this through. Let's turn that sideways. There's our loop. Okay, so let's come back through the upper hole. pull that taut, good. And then back around to this side, let's come through our loop. Okay, well that looks good too, a little bit more secure. Now if we want to add a gusset, that might just be a little too much distance, but for a flap, that looks good. I'll just do 2 more. And there we are. That too looks good. That's going to look nice, say, on the outside edge of a pair of chaps, or maybe a hemline on a skirt or dress. So many ways we can go with this. All right, let's step this up just a little bit. This should look nice too. We're going to go with our white deer lace, but here, let's go with some of our Western Crunch. That's a beautiful leather. Now on our pattern, very similar, we're going to come in 1/4 of an inch, then 3/8 of an inch. I've got a 1/2 inch spread on my holes on this line. Then down here, we've got a 1 inch spread because we're going to drop those right in between every other set of 2 holes. So let's start here. We don't need our Permalock needle, but just like we've done on everything else, let's bring our points together. And again, I've tapered those, flesh to flesh. So let's come through one of our lower holes. Good, we've got a loop there. All right, on the back, I'm going to take one piece and I'm going to go to this hole, one piece over to this hole. But back here, let's flip that around, try to get our top grain up so that when we come through that hole, our top grain's already up on the outside. Yeah, there we go. Now on this side, same thing, one hole out. All right, let's pull those together. Now with our loop, we're going to take both of those and go through our loop, but let's butt those back together. Come through the loop. Good. Now what I'd like to do is make sure our top grain is up on both pieces. It is. Okay. Now let's pull that loop from behind. Make that taut. All right. And then from up top, let's pull that lace through. And there we are. Actually, that's pretty secure, pretty snug, and it looks good. All right, I'm going to do 2 more. Okay, well that actually looks pretty good. Now, it's a little sparse as fringe goes, but I certainly like that look, okay? Well, let's change that up. So on this piece, we're going to use the larger lace. I've got a larger hole. So on a revolving or a rotary punch, over here, I'm in about the 3rd hole up from the bottom. Up here, about the 5th hole up, because now we're going with a lace that's just a little bit thicker. But what we're going to do now is let's go 1/2 inch spread. I've got a 1/2 inch spread here, but now let's drop a hole in between every hole up here. We're just offsetting that. We're going to do exactly the same thing, but let me get the first one through. Okay, we've got that piece done. Now for our second, let's do the same thing. Bring these 2 pieces together. We're going to go through the next hole. Push from the front. Let's make our loop. And get our top grain out. Okay, so on this side, we're going to come up, keep our top grain flat to that hole. And then on this side, we're going to come over to a hole we've already filled right there. Let's see if I can get that through there without using the Permalock, and I did. And now let's take these 2 pieces through our loop and tighten that up. Now I'd like to spread that lace out just a little bit. There we go. So we look like we have 2 pieces hanging there. All right. I'm going to do 2 or 3 more. And we can work that lace down to where it's as consistent as we would like it. Again, I love the way that leather drapes the deer tan cow. Now, at one point, I wish I'd gone with a different color here so we could see that a little bit better. I just picked one of my favorites. That's our Water Buffalo Crazy Horse. It's distressed leather, but all told, with that is a very rustic look. But go your own way, make it your own. And that's exactly right, make it your own. Choose the color of lace, the width of the lace, the design. Do we want to bunch it up or do we want to spread it out? All kinds of ways we can go here. I hope you have a great time with it, and I hope this is good information for you. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.